Okay, well, we're back this week. We're going to talk a little bit more about worship and praise. And like I said in the introduction, I started this series. I've been having some problems with the way preachers are preaching to congregations. Uh, Preachers basically act like if you don't jump around and act silly in the church, that you're not filled with the Spirit, which I don't think is true. They also argue that if you have a problem with rock music in the church, then you're being petty and disagreeable, and they liken that, and arguments I've heard, they liken it always to the color of the carpet in the church. I don't know why that one always seems to be part of the argument, but I've heard it compared to the textbooks, things around the church, how big the parking spaces are. I mean, they're just trying to say that if you don't want rock music in the church, you're being petty, just like all this other pettiness that you find in the church. And I just don't think any of that's true. I think that there is uh, a big reason why people are opposed to the rock music in the church. I think it's valid. I don't think there's anything wrong with the church being somber and and reverent during a worship service. And so I've kind of been studying the difference between worship and praise. And I have to say I've been noticing on church signs here lately. One church I drove by and it said, "We offer here praise and prayer," and so they kind of left it right there. But I've saw another church, they said that we have worship and praise, and, I don't have a problem with that really, but what I do have a problem with is, if you watch the services online. I haven't been in the church, but I've seen some of the service online, and the only thing they worship to as the worship part of the service is the music. And that really is the praise part, not the worship part. And so that's what led me to this. We're going to go through several weeks looking at some verses related to worship. I really think worship in the Bible is a designation that we fall on our face like we're coming before a king. We bow, we're reverent, were somber and sober. And so I think that's what worship is, as you see it displayed and carried out in the Bible. And then you have other times of praise where people are dancing in the street and playing music and stuff like that. And so there are two different things here. And I think that churches need to, first of all, they need to stop trying to condemn congregations who don't act like idiots. I just don't think, that's proper. There's nothing wrong with being a somber and reverent congregation. So, uh, today we're gonna look at this passage in Psalm chapter, uh, 99, verse 5. It says, "Exalt ye, Lord." Well, let me go to verse 4, because my whole thing is that this is to get an idea of worship. You're supposed to look at it like you're approaching a king. And here, verse 4 talks about the king's strength. He loves judgment. Of course, the king loves judgment. Thou doest establish equity. Now, equity is value. So the king's judgment establishes value to his reign, to his throne. He says that he executes judgment and righteousness in Jacob. Now, here, Jacob is a reference to the nation of Israel, but he's executing judgment and righteousness. I mean, he's not opening the house up for a party. And so that's why when you come before the king, you're reverent, you're honorable, you bow down before him. Verse 5 says, "Exalt ye the Lord our God and worship at his footstool, for he is holy." So I think we need to get a better understanding that worship is getting down on our knees before God, and praise is singing and doing that other stuff. But these churches that always refer to the music as worship and everything else is something else. I just wish they would stop it, but I don't know. I want to go through several of these because I really want you to see in the Bible how much there is that talks about getting down on your knees when you're worshiping. And so we'll pick it up again next week. All right. Thank you and God bless you.